Time to get ready, bro.
Get ready for what? Oh yeah, Black Hollywood Live.
Now in LA, where every day we got a fat in our pockets, niggas hustle for the cash, so it's hard to knock us. Everybody got their own thing, currency chasing, worldwide to the hard times, worrying, facing. Shed tears as we bury niggas close to heart. With a friend that was ghost in the dark. Cold part about it, nigga got smoked by a fiend. Try to floss on him, blind to a broken man's dream. A hard lesson, cold cases keep me stressing. Plea bargaining an option, now I'm home stressing. Cost me more to be free than the life in the pen. Making money off from cuss words, writing again. Learn how to think ahead, so I fight with my. Hello, LA. Allow me to reintroduce myself. Some people know me, I have family here who know me as Edward. Some people know me as Bobby. Other people know, whoever you know me as, I'm the inmate that escaped.
Hey, thank you. We're here at Black Hollywood Live. I'm your host, Johnny Day Day. Okay, I have a special guest with me tonight. I'm here with Obbie West. How you doing, brother, man?
How you doing? How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you. Pleasure to meet you today, man.
Yeah.
So, tell the audience where you from, and what you doing today.
I'm from here. I'm from Atlanta. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I live in Las Vegas right now. I am here for the Slick Experience. It's a spoken word event put on by Black Swan Entertainment, and we're here to do some poetry.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So, the question I have for you: how do you feel that Black poetry plays a role in the Black community?
Great question. Poetry in the Black community, as Black people notoriously, we have had this thing where certain levels of authority made us more defensive than open, right? Okay. Due to our history, there's an embedded insecurity, especially when that authority is coming from someone who doesn't look like us. So with that being said, we might not have done the best in schools because we didn't want to listen.
Right.
Sometimes we was deterred from church because that atmosphere just didn't seem cool. So I think poetry is one of the things that we're willing to listen to. It's a medium for information, but if we don't want to get the information from school, we don't want to get the information from church, we don't believe what's going on in the news, we're more likely to listen to someone who parallels us. Like, a lot of times growing up, we listen to our homeboys quicker than our parents.
Right.
Because they was our equal.
Right.
So when you have a poet that's putting out the information, that poet looks like you, and that poet is sort of an equal, you are more apt to gravitate towards it. So I think, go back to your original question, I think poetry in the Black community it's another learning tool. When school doesn't work, when church doesn't work, when the news isn't working, it's where we get the information from.
Okay.
I don't want to be long-winded, but in addition to that, it's very therapeutic. It's a huge outlet. For me, I grew up operating under this very, very unhealthy definition of masculinity. That didn't allow me to talk about certain things. You're a man. You ain't supposed to talk about stuff that hurt. If it hurt, it better be some macho hurt. Like you got bit by a lion or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there was things that I wanted to talk about. I ain't had no way to talk about it. But then when I do a poem, I can stand on the stage. You don't know if it's about me or not. So I can sort of hide behind this poem and get those things off my chest. So in addition to it being an avenue for learning, it was also an avenue for release and expression.
Okay, good. Now, how do you feel poetry addresses like the social issues around the world?
Aggressively. Poetry is an art form where we don't feel like we have to censor ourselves. So we don't have to manipulate the wording in order to cater to a certain audience. We just say it. Right? So I think that there's news that you can get from other places, but when you get it from a poem, regardless to whether the poet is black, white, green, it's going to be a little bit more unlaced.
Okay.
It's just raw. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Now tell me about like, so what inspired you to start just start? Like, what, like when you first started, like
Yeah.
what gave you that push?
That's
This is what I
a
want to do.
two-part answer. One, I was always a fan of words.
Mhm.
Right? Always a fan of words, but I couldn't rap.
Mhm.
I didn't want to be no pimp. I'd be
Okay.
crying with the hoes. I
Right.
mean, my
Right.
heart
Right.
too
Right.
big. You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't do anything like that. So then it was poetry.
Mhm.
So being a fan of words allowed me to gravitate towards the art form.
Okay.
The second part of that is back to what was aforementioned, is it was a way for me to talk about things that I didn't feel like I had another stage to talk about. And poetry was one of those one-way conversations. If you and I are talking, we holding conversation, and I say something you don't agree with, you have the space to rebuttal me. You have the space to cut me off. But if I'm standing on a stage and I'm reciting a poem, your only job is to be quiet and listen. So it's a one-way conversation that I can have, and I don't give the audience a right to rebuttal me. Right? So it was a freedom in that.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, thank you. Well, definitely. And what would you say to like a person that wants to start writing poetry, that probably have their book, that's like, got the jitters, a little nervous,
Yeah.
that may not want to share the information, but it's in that book. Like, what do you think they should do?
Just right. Right? And whether or not you recite it or not is still a poem.
Okay.
Right? Reciting it publicly is just something we choose to do, but it doesn't take away from a poem because it's not recited publicly. Poems, they start off as medication. We don't always have to open our medicine cabinet and read our prescriptions to everybody in the audience, right? You just take the medication for you. So that's what it starts off. Just reciting it, that's just a plus. But I would say just write about what you feel. If you are a poet who wants to perform, don't worry about looking at what the popular topic is and then writing about that topic so that you can get an applause. Because you'll find yourself creating an opinion about something that you don't have an original opinion about, just so you can write about the popular topic. So just stick to what's innate to you. Write about those things that make you feel liberated, that makes you feel that you have to get off your chest. And don't worry about the cosmetics. Don't worry about it sonically sounding good. This don't rhyme. This don't have enough metaphors. Just write. And at some point, those other creative devices will come. But just write. Just write.
Good, good. Hey, y'all heard that, okay? And I got one more question for you. Because it was something I was looking at, and I'm going to just say it. The Speak Up Brother. Tell me about it.
Speak Up Brother. Speak Up Brother is a... I'm not sure how much I can say. It's been released and it's circulating film festivals now, so I can talk about it.
Okay.
Speak Up Brother is an idea that originated between me and I can call it a good friend now named Roger Lawrence. And he has a film company called Black Man's Films.
Okay.
And he did a film called Silent Brother, which is a short film. He reached out to me. He said that he admired what I was doing with poetry and he wanted to do something that incorporated poetry. So we came up with an idea of creating a love story that was facilitated through a poem, where there's a woman in this who she can only hear in rhythm. So if you're not speaking in rhythm, she can't hear what you're saying, right? So if you just go talk to her in prose, she's not going to hear you. And there was a guy who wanted her attention. He couldn't figure out why he was being ignored, so he finally got the courage and the method to communicate with her. So it's a love story that's communicated through poetry. So the dialogue between these two people are poem.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it's a short film.
Something different. Okay. All right. Definitely looking forward to hearing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one last question. Where'd you get the name? Obbie West.
Obbie West.
Tell us.
Man, this story seems so minuscule, but there was somebody who I was trying to find on social media. I wasn't really a social media fan. I didn't have the first wave of social media with MySpace.
MySpace, yeah.
I didn't have any of those. And there was somebody who told me, well, Facebook is like a directory. You can find whoever you want to find.
Right.
So growing up, they called me Bobby. So when I'm creating this page, I don't want to use my real name because I don't want people to find me because I ain't planning on keeping this page. So I take the word Bobby and I scramble the letters. And it spells Obbie.
Oh, okay.
I'm from the West Coast, so I use West as the last name just to find this person. And then shortly after that, I started doing what I considered modeling. And then I started doing poetry. Before I know it, I had people in the art community that knew Obbie West.
Right.
And now it's a DBA. Now people write checks and I can't get rid of it if I want to. But I was like the first catfish.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that's where it came from.
Definitely. Okay. Well, thank you. Appreciate you coming, man. You know what I'm saying? Blessings with your words, man. And have a great show. And we looking forward to your success.
All
man.
love. Appreciate
that all.
Yeah.
Thank you. We hope that this has inspired you and motivated you and also challenged you to continue to uplift the black poets in your community. So we want to thank you and good night.